Special Counsel Robert Mueller, he's just added a 16th attorney to his legal team. Reuters is reporting the former Justice Department official Greg Andres is now on board. He served in the Criminal Justice Division, where he oversaw the fraud unit that targeted illegal foreign bribery. He joins this guy, Andrew Weissman, who leads the DOJ's fraud unit. He also headed up the Enron task force. Then there's these two, James Quarles and Janine Rhee. They're both Mueller colleagues at the high-powered Wilmer Hale law firm. Quarles, he served as assistant special prosecutor in the Watergate investigation. Rhee, as Assistant Attorney General, served as one under Eric Holder. And the team rounded out by more former Justice Department attorneys, including some who worked on terror cases, worked in the Solicitor General's office. They've also, well, been quite busy. More than a little to dig into, especially after revelations about Trump's involvement in helping his son Donnie Jr. deal with the infamous meeting with the Russians by reportedly drafting the first deceptive description of said meeting. And now, CBS is reporting congressional investigators want phone records pertaining to that meeting at the Trump Tower that was again held last year. Some of these names are not foreign to you. I know that you both are. But I was looking at some of the bios and the backgrounds. These are not guys who just fell off the turnip truck. No. And they have specific specialties, and they bring a wealth of experience. This is not good news if you're Team Trump.
Greg Andres was, before that, an assistant United States attorney in the Eastern District, and he prosecuted some very, very high-profile cases, very long-standing investigations.
Mob cases. Let's just call them what they are.
Some mob cases as well. Listen, the team that he's put together is a team of lawyers who know how to investigate criminal activity. They're very, very good at what they do. And it's like I said before, let this guy do his job with the team that he's put together. If there's nothing there, I am certain they will find nothing. If there is something there, they're going to go with it. And it'd be really nice if we could not be bothered with all of this other noise that constantly goes back to debunking the Russian thing.
Well, and to that point, Mark, if Trump was your client, okay, and given time, you might be the next counsel called in, okay?
No,
he's his own worst enemy in terms of
many unforced errors.
Not just the tweets and everything else, but if there was an argument to say, hey, you should limit the scope of the investigation to X, it's almost like he is seemingly self-determined to involve himself with things that even if Mueller didn't want to, almost enforce him, that he's going to have to expand the investigation into so many other different avenues as if he didn't already have enough.
Well, I think
that, I think, is the hardest element in front of anyone representing this president. He can't not get involved in things, and he can't keep things to himself.
I think you're right. Legally, he's creating far more problems for himself than he needs to by constantly intervening where he shouldn't be, and where keeping his mouth shut would be the best thing. But he's also presumably making a political calculation. He has a political career to worry about and trying to win the case in the court of public opinion. And let me tell you what these hirings show. I'm not afraid to say it. Yes, Virginia, there is a deep state. Jimmy and I have been around the block. I'm not speaking for Jimmy on this. I'm speaking for myself. We've been doing this for 25 years. These are people who are close allies, cronies, and colleagues of Mueller and Comey. They all feed from the same trough. I'm not saying Trump is not going to get a fair investigation, but he's right in the court of public opinion to call their bona fides and their impartiality and their objectivity into question. He's absolutely right.
Okay, but let's be clear about one thing, and then Mayor, I want to bring you in. Comey and Mueller, registered Republicans, okay? They're not, and I don't think anyone would think Mr. Comey has been a huge fan of one Hillary Clinton or whatever else. Who, Mark, would you suggest, if you were Bob Mueller, wouldn't you bring in people whose work you know that you've worked with in the past?
These are career bureaucrats.
Don't they have to be able to do this?
I don't know that there should have been a special counsel to begin this, and we can talk, and we probably will later in the show,
right?
About the mandate, the limitless mandate that whoever the special counsel is has, and he's essentially self-defining the parameters of his own investigation. And Trump, by shooting his mouth off, is aiding and abetting him inadvertently in that cause. I don't know who the
Except
guy
the
is,
problem with what you're saying,
but
Mark,
these are
is
fair
that you could say that
criticisms.
with any prosecutor's office. Anytime you have anybody
Right.
who's a career prosecutor, every person that goes to court could turn around and say, well, these 3 people have been doing this for 25
James
years.
Comey was
You know,
the U.S.
they're-
attorney for the Southern District of
it,
New York
it doesn't
before
matter
he
if you
was
go to the
anything.
Manhattan District Attorney's office, you have people that have been there for 30 or 40 years that have been doing it.
Well,
You go to
suppose-
Westchester, go anywhere, you're going to find people who are in the upper echelon who call the shots, who do that. What I saw when you look at the team he's assembled, I'm not so concerned with whether the cases were mob cases, terrorism
No, I'm
cases,
not concerned with that at
Enron,
all.
any of that. What it tells me is that you have people who are involved in complicated litigation, and that goes toward their ability to organize complex cases and voluminous
Like Enron, the case that they spent gazillions of dollars on that
and
was
voluminous
blown up by the
documents.
Supreme Court,
So what
that Andrew
happens
Weissman
is
did.
when you're in a situation and you could be looking at thousands upon thousands of boxes of evidence, you have a team assembled that will be able to handle that very easily. They won't be distracted by the sheer volume, and they're going to be able to get to the point.
Let me,
It
let
also
me
says-
give
if
you
I
a
could go
different
one second, though.
hypothetical.
It also
Suppose he
says to me,
appointed
Mark,
Christie or Giuliani as the special
You
prosecutor.
wouldn't
It
appoint
would be
somebody with
fair.
5 years'
No,
experience.
Giuliani was the same U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York as Comey was. It would be fair for the Democrats
Well, you
to
wouldn't
wait a
pick
minute. let me
Giuliani
finish.
because Giuliani, clearly, if you want to talk
It
about
would
someone
be
who
fair,
has...
it would be fair for the Democrats to then say this investigation is biased, it's partial,
You are
it
the
can't
first
be
person
trusted.
I know other than Trump who thinks that Bob Mueller,
I
in terms
think
of a
that James
universe of
Comey
people
is
who
a
of all
material
political things,
participant in
that
this
has
investigation.
questioned Bob Mueller's objectivity.
I'm questioning Comey, who leaked a lot of
I
this,
don't
and
think
these are
Lindsey Graham-
allies
But
and
I don't
long-term
think
colleagues
Lindsey
of
Graham
his.
would be-
They have
would
a
be
vested
threatening,
interest
uh,
in
One
that-
guy at a
defending
time.
Comey.
Go ahead.
I don't believe Lindsey Graham would have made the statement he
Right.
made
Graham despises
if,
Trump
if
and
he
was
thought
alive
that...
when
Mark,
in the campaign.
Mark.
Well,
so
he-
does
Despises
two-thirds
him.
of the
Lin-
country.
Lindsey
okay?
Graham-
So
Why
here-
isn't a defense attorney on this team?
That's fair. No, that's a, you know, you
It's
take
really
it
not
as
a
a
bad
facetious
Yeah, that's
comment,
a fair one.
but it's fair.
my point, though, is when you read, and I know you guys know this,
100%.
but to the general audience, the specialties of this group,
No doubt.
when you're looking at this most
about
recent
Ted
one
Wells?
in foreign briberies,
complain
etc.
about Ted Wells?
Okay, but Mark,
But Mark, if
you're
there's
getting
nothing
so
there-
in the weeds.
No,
I
I'm
haven't
not.
heard.
He's beyond reproach.
Mark, if there's
well,
nothing
Nobody
there,
thinks
nothing
Bob
will be
Mueller
found.
isn't either. Do you know what time out? Do you know what Chuck Grassley had to say? Hardly, by the way, a liberal Democrat,
Listen.
and every member timeout of the Judiciary Committee, Republicans only. They promised two things. If this president, A, attempted to fire Jeff Sessions here and because he wants to bring in another AG that can try and get rid of Mueller or whatever, they would not even
Here's
consider
my
an
answer
appointment
to
to the end of the year. Point two, they all said Bob Mueller brings both the credibility
Republicans
to
are
be able
just
to
as
run an
threatened
investigation.
by Trump as are the Democrats.
Mark,
They're not
this is just
exactly
an unending
in-
apologia
no,
for this.
not so. Not so. Listen, I have worked in this field for 25 years. They were all raised right here in the southern and eastern districts of New York. They are career prosecutors who have very close ties.
Who else do we want to
I
try
just
this?
gave you a name, just out of the top of my head.
Mark,
Ted
why is,
Wells,
it that when
unimpeachable.
when you are a four-star general, it's a good thing that you've been doing this for 30, 40 years, but when
Member
you're a
of the deep
prosecutor,
state.
you're supposed
I
to be
didn't
new
say-
and know
listen,
nobody at
it's
all.
Not, it's great that they have experience. The fact
Yeah.
that they worked side by side with Comey and Mueller
Let me get us back
right
on,
here in
on
New
the round
York for
side of the earth
25
here for a minute.
years.
Coming up next.
Why not Giuliani?
Civil rights, don't even dare go there. The
was the
Civil
same
Rights
US
Division of the Justice Department usually deals with helping minorities who have at times gotten the short end of the stick. But this time, this Justice Department with this Attorney General is actually looking to sue the schools over affirmative action policy that they say help the whites. That could be part of a pattern.